and welcome to John Drinks, and today we're still in Manchester. This is the Whisky Shop. This is Phil. He runs a YouTube channel.
I do. It's called Whisky Wednesday. I imagine it'll be linked somewhere. Feel free to click on that and have a follow through. But if you're not subscribed to me, you should be subscribed to this. Why wouldn't you be?
This.
I love this channel.
Okay, grand. Yeah.
I think this channel's great. I watch this channel more than like all the big ones because you manage to review stuff that is just odd.
Yeah, that's
you just
my thing.
You just find these unusual whiskey, even the gin reviews and stuff you do.
Yeah, I've scaled those back a little bit, to be fair, but
it's until there's like a full. There probably is like a gin YouTuber, right? There probably is like just a gin YouTuber.
There was a what's her name? She's not made content in like a year, and she was hilarious, and I absolutely adored her. And it's the problem with this whole sphere. It's like, let's just talk about it for a second. Ralfy. In the grand scheme of like our kind of sphere,
yeah,
you know, God Almighty. However, in like the larger sphere of like YouTube,
tiny
minnow,
yeah.
For want of a better, and that's not being insulting or cruel in any way. It's just
we don't play Minecraft.
There are, yeah, for want of a better way of putting it, you know, we don't play Minecraft. I often joke that I am the least successful gay YouTuber on the planet because I don't take my shirt off. I mean, there was that one where I did put a face mask on, but that video did really badly for, I'm imagining, precisely that reason. But yeah, it's a niche thing, and that must always be considered. If you want big bucks, you don't talk about liquor on YouTube. It's not a moneymaker.
No.
But today we're talking about something expensive.
Quite expensive.
Because, you know, it's just keep throwing that money down the drain. This is Bunnahabhain 18. I've always been a big fan of, I mean, we were talking about it earlier on, but I've always been a big fan of the colour scheme on this one. I just really like the blue and black. It just looks nice. Bunnahabhain, I've done some stuff with in the past. I've tried the 12. I also tried, fairly famously, their 88 Marsala, because we got a couple of bottles in at the bar I work, and it's if you've ever wanted Vimto flavoured whiskey, that's exactly what it is. And I will fight you on that corner if you think I am wrong. I've had people being like, oh, they don't like it because it's too fruity. It's a fucking delight, but you can't get your hands on it, so there's no point in me telling you that it's a fucking delight, because unless you come into my place to try a dram, then you can't get it, so tough. It's been replaced by, I don't know if it's been replaced by the Unouch, or they just went into their design files and went, this was a couple of years ago, there's no more of it, we'll just use the same label. Yeah, because I saw it come up on Master Malt, I was like, oh my god, it's back, and it's something completely different. And I was like, oh, that's disappointing, okay.
They've got some stash somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be under somebody's foot. To be fair, we do still have a full bottle, I didn't buy it off the company. Tempting. But yeah, anyway, that's not where we are today. We're at the 18-year-old.
Big bottle.
Yes. Yeah, it's not every day that I do an 18. Is blue the official colour of the 18-year-olds between these guys and Glendronach?
2 out of 3 of them are Callans. Got dark blue and light blue. Glenlivet, still blue, isn't it? Dark blue.
Is it? I thought they got like a weird brown colour now.
I think Glenlivet 18 is still blue from memory. Glenfiddich 18 is the weird, like chocolatey brown colour.
Maybe I'm getting my blends mixed up now.
Clear's like bright yellow. Like Clear 18
yes.
It's a really nice bright yellow. Lockwood was purple. Glen Scotia's gold. Always lets me a bit different. Yeah, there's a few blues. Talisker 18, blue.
I don't know where I was going with this train of thought, to be fair.
It's like how all ryes are green.
Yes.
All ryes are green, and we don't know why.
Yeah. It's because they're fresh and rancid.
Oh, is that why?
No.
Tried to do the research, can't find out why. None of it makes any sense. But yeah, I forget what the cask makeup is of this. I remember from many trainings many years ago, the 12 is almost like 50-50. So I imagine this would be more inclined to 50-50 bourbon and sherry, I should say. So I imagine this will lean more to sherry for the price and for the age. Still no smoke, still 46.3. Much lauded after by many people, both on YouTube and not, just whiskey fans. I've had mixed reviews of it, different batches. Never officially reviewed it. I don't think Joe did either. I've had some that I liked, some that I didn't. I've got loads of. I've had loads of bottles of 12. I've had limited edition versions of things, and it's always been a good distillery. But this is now allocated. It's only really released to specialist retailers like twice a year, and we can only order X amount of it. So it's becoming harder to get. But I suppose that's not a new thing at all, really, is it?
I like old stuff.
Old sherry in particular.
Interesting. Okay.
We also, I'm not sure the sherry makeup of it either. One would imagine it's just mainly Oloroso with maybe a bit of PX.
I mean, this happens a lot with whiskey. It just kind of says, "Oh, it's a sherry cask." It's like
that's a lot of sherry.
Doesn't narrow it down very much, but thanks.
Yeah. I mean, they are quite open. You discussed it in the Sala cast. They are quite open with vast experimentation.
They are.
But it would be cool to list sherry varieties or even percentages of dry to sweet or something like that. But yeah, it's old sherry Islay, but without smoke. So
they do a good middle ground job of kind of like, giving you enough information
yes.
to let you know what they're doing without going too geeky to put people off.
Yes.
It's a tightrope for certain, and
too
fair
much.
play to them.
Yeah. Less is more sometimes, especially with if you don't know all the different varieties of sherry and how differently they are, I should say.
And if you don't, there's a link in the song.
Yeah.
Sorry, you carry
We
on.
love sherry. We should talk more about sherry because it's something we should all drink more of to make things cheaper. But it is, to just say sherry just works for most people, doesn't it? So no one's going to come around. I can't remember the last time someone asked me specifically for an Amoroso matured whiskey or Pedro Jimenez. Maybe Pedro Jimenez actually, but certainly not the dry ones. They don't really see a lot of.
Do you have anything matured in Manzanite?
Not right now. Yeah, they're good with that as well. I think the last Manzanilla cask whiskey I tried was
Bunnahabhain it's a chameleon. It just plays really well with whatever's thrown at it. Is what I found.
I'm sorry, I jumped the gun there. We didn't talk about smell.
I was going to say you jumped in. And I was like, well, do you know what? I'm not being left behind.
I could just get it. I mean, I've said I'm moving away from sherry cask stuff unless it's peated, because some of my favourite type of whiskies are peated Islay, especially if it's older Bowmore, it's cash strength, that 18 is nuts, and etc. etc. But the smell of this is.
You ever had those dark chocolate ginger biscuits?
Ginger for sure.
Yeah.
And it's quite intense ginger too. Seems to be a running theme with the last 3 videos with ginger everywhere.
Picking it out, I mean, give it that.
Loads of dark chocolate. Not quite heavy molasses, but there is a molassesy thing to it. It smells
I think the
heavy.
mouthfeel is syrupy.
Yeah. It smells heavy. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
It smells dense and rich and delicious. It's not Christmassy.
No.
It's not that marinated fruit
not,
thing, which makes me think there could be some other types of sherry in it.
With us talking about sherry, it's it's usually an easy go-to to be it's the following Christmas cake ingredients.
Yeah.
And then you just rattle out a video and then take in the AdSense. We don't fucking don't. But I mean, yeah. With this one, it's not doing that. It's making you think about it a little bit more. So, how to do our jobs again.
There's some dry, nutty character, even on the taste, because we've both tried it by this point, but chocolatey for sure, ginger, a dry, nutty thing.
A little saline.
I mean, I'd expect that kind of, that salty thing, because the 12 is just salted terrace chocolate orange. There's not as much indulgence with this with milk chocolate. There's still some orangey stuff happening in it, but I suppose that's again default sherry. Some quite nice coffee notes in it too. Really nice espresso. On the smell anyway, the finish, the taste isn't as fruity as really good espresso. But.
I was confused because you said espresso as I was drinking. I was like, am I missing something? Yeah, there is that kind of super dry coffee aspect to it. If you're a caramel latte fan, fair enough, but you're not really going to understand what we're on about.
Yeah, it does seem like that nutty, salty. Would I say it's typical Bunnahabhain? I mean, it's a core lineup, but I don't know if it's typical. But then again, I don't know how many of us have tried this. It's been years since I tried this. And the last time I tried it, I didn't enjoy it. It was too dry. Whereas now it seems to be walking along quite a nice line of mouth-watering, a little bit of dryness, salty, still quite chocolatey.
Yeah.
Not overly indulgent.
There's an element of sweetness, but it's holding back.
Yeah, it's like when you're a kid and you find like the box of liqueur chocolates.
Yeah.
And you think,
like,
oh, I found like a
this could be
treasure
great.
show. And then it's not as sweet as I thought it was going to be. It's like quite sharp and
Yeah, and
intense.
your first introduction to Cointreau is it
Yeah.
like dribbling out your mouth like,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
It's not as horrible as that first
Yeah.
experience. It's not horrible at all. But it's just not as sweet as
Yeah.
I think it would be. It's a bit deceptive, to be fair.
I still have never gone back to liqueur chocolate. I will happily drink Cointreau and all the other rubbish they put in those things, but I've never gone back to liqueur chocolates just because I was like, oh, these are going to be great. Oh.
Yeah, they're still not good.
No.
I think if you've, as far as 18s go, the £100+ mark, which they're all essentially at these days.
Yeah.
I love Highland Park. The new batches of 18 are wowing me anyway. It's more interesting than Highland Park 18. It doesn't have the heather honey thing, but it's got the coffee thing, it's got the chocolatey thing, it's got the nutty thing. It's dry, it's not smoky, but still very good. It's a third the price of Macallan 18, which already sets it miles ahead. Glendronach 18 is a tough thing to walk because it's Glendronach 18 and it tastes of cherry and walnut, and it's lovely. But again, it leans more to a deeper, savoury, just different thing really.
It's very much doing its own thing.
Yeah,
Which again,
what's kicking around now that's 18 apart from Kalila?
make it hard for me, why don't you?
Bowmore.
Where's Bowmore?
Is that it?
Can you still get Lafroig as an 18-year-old?
Not in the UK.
Yeah.
The law replaced it. But there's only 3 18-year-olds from either.
I've still got some on my back bar. I don't know how I haven't sold out of it yet.
And even then, versus Bowmore, there's so much more going on. Kalila is delicious, but it is just Kalila, and it's not in a bad way, nice. It's kind of creamy and
I dare you, Kalila's lovely.
It is, yeah, it is. But this has got, even without the smoke, there's still just more going on with it.
Yeah, the more I'm getting into it, I'm kind of like, if you decide to put black treacle in rice pudding, that's the kind of...
Wow.
It's like one of those decisions where you're kind of like, is this going to work? And you're like, I don't know.
I certainly get...
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's
no.
lovely. Yeah, it's like molasses. I get like a little maple syrupy thing when like too much maple syrup goes slightly savoury. If you ever smell a tube of like vanilla pods and it's kind of minty, there's almost like a feel of that towards the end of it. It's not overly oily.
No.
Um,
Do you know what I am going to do actually? Do we still have that? Yes, we do.
It's kind of like a nice intermediate. Like if you drink a lot of Speyside 18-year-old, this would taste very different.
Just a little.
But it's not as powerful as Islay is as a whole. Certainly to some of its rivals.
I mean, that's kind of Boona's claim to fame, for one of
Yeah,
a
pretty
better
much.
way of putting it as well. You know, it's
Islay,
like,
but it's not.
oh, you've had Islay. Okay, cool. You don't like that? Cool. Have this.
Very much. Fully agree with that actually. It does come across more like a cognac, I'll be honest. If you like cognac and you've never tried 18-year-old whiskey, I think you would like this quite a lot. Nuttier, drier, not as sweet.
It's got kind of like a dry plum sort of a thing when you add a little bit of water to it. If you've ever been like foraging for stone fruit like a wanker, like I have been, then you'll know what you're on about, but otherwise...
Yeah, I think the water kills quite a bit of the depth to it, doesn't it? It kind of, for want of a better phrase, washes quite a lot of the way.
It does. It makes it
A bit plainer.
easier,
Yeah.
for want of a better way of putting it.
Yeah, not as complex. But a wonderful 18-year-old. Price is rising, but that's not
Buy now.
what isn't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, everything's bloody going up, so...
But I think if you've never tried that before, and you are a fan of older Scottish whiskey, and you're not necessarily a peat fan, or if you are, if you put that next to any other 18-year-old, that's extremely contrasting. And I'm trying to think...
It's going to stand out. It can't help it.
But it also tastes very different to the 12. The 12 is so much sweeter.
It really is. The 12 is like, I mean, by its very nature, it's more approachable. But, you know, you can't talk about how whiskies get mellower as they age, and it's a fallacy, but, you know, that kind of general idea does sort of rattle around in your head necessarily. I mean, I've had some 21-year-olds that are an absolute bastard. I've had some 3-year-olds that are delightful.
Yeah, same.
You know, so it's there's no fast rules with this. I don't know what you want from me. I can't make this easier for you.
Yeah, we are not here to make it better.
Yeah, you know, we're here to make it harder and to make you cry and make it more complicated. I'm sorry.
Possibly poorer as well.
Oh, almost certainly poorer. I mean, like...
An expensive job. We like what we do, but it's an expensive job.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've put money in Tom and Tal's pocket accidentally more than anything else, because I've accidentally converted a lot of people to that, but...
Oh, who have I done that with? I'm trying to think who I've done that with, like an equivalency. Probably more bourbon. Like, winning people into bourbon's easier than it used to be these days.
Before we got here, actually, there's a pub down the road called the Britain's Protection. We'll be finding more about them out... That was not a sentence. We'll be finding out more about those later on. They have their own individual casks of Jack Daniels.
They do. Quite a lot of them.
Yes.
5 or 6, maybe.
Yeah. I tried the 6 and it was pleasant. I wasn't really focusing on it because also the staff were really bored because their card machines had gone down, so they were just taking cash, so they were quite empty. So they were like, so why are you here? And I told them the entire thing. We just got talking for ages, so that's part of the reason why I was late to begin with. Britain's Protection, can't recommend.
Great bar. Great bar.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Pete Brown wrote a book a few years ago called The Pub, and part of the reason why I went in there was because he talks about it, but he talks about it in not the best light. He makes it out as if it's a really rough and ready kind of boozer, and it's not. It's not.
It's the oldest pub in Manchester.
Yeah.
It's not the oldest pub in the UK, but it's the oldest pub in Manchester. 1700 and something, I think. 1780 or 70. It's an ancient building. It's very Tudor. All the kind of black and white on the outside. I would normally, and this isn't a bad thing, I'd normally from the outside describe it as a bit of an old man's pub because the seating is knackered.
Yeah.
The bar's very thin. But the whiskey collection is insane. Like they have every big brand and all of its variety, plus quite a lot of bourbon, huge Jack Daniels collection. I wouldn't describe it as rough and ready. There are a few pubs just down that road which I describe as quite rough and ready. That's where I used to work. But Britain's is staff know their stuff. Great selection, well priced, cool beers on as well. I'm not much of a beer drinker, but they're quite an interesting selection last time I was in.
Oh. Hi there. So you've reached the end of the video, and you can tell that you've reached the end of the video. Oh, Jesus. Oh, okay. That chair's breaking. That's an interesting development. The camera cut out, and I've tried recording this already, and the memory card failed. So I just finished work, so I can't be bothered doing like a proper outro video. So that's it. The video's over. You can go now. Make sure to do all the the stuff like commenting and subscribing and all that. Yeah. We're done. I'll I don't have as much energy when I've just finished work and I need to get this together in like an hour. So yeah, bye. I'll drink something else next week for your amusement and entertainment. I'm going to go microwave some tapioca now, so that's